All right, I'm so excited for all of you to tune in to this training. I've spent a ton of time preparing. I've taken some old content, I've taken some new content, I've combined it with a bunch of just new ideas and concepts that I know are going to help you out tremendously in your business. So stay tuned. Make sure, as always, you take notes. Make sure you've got that notebook, that notepad, whether you're utilizing your phone or whatever it is that you're utilizing to really help make that huge difference for you in your business. So a couple different things as we go through this, and I'll show you right now some of the things that we're going to cover so you can at least have an idea. Is we're going to start out talking a little bit about the mindset. We're going to go from there. We're going to talk about a power hour blitz. And then we're going to talk about a monthly blitz. We're going to talk about IPAs. We're going to talk a little bit about scripts. We're going to talk a little bit about a simple favor system that I use. I'm going to cater all of these systems and ideas to everything that pertains to being consistent in your business. Because some people are like, is that even possible? Signing up 10 customers every single month? Look, here's the best way to look at it. Whenever you have a goal, the way that you achieve that specific goal is to make sure that you set it much higher. So if your goal is to sign up consistently 3 or 4 customers every single month, you're not going to set the goal to sign up 3 or 4 customers every single month. This is Les Brown says, shoot for the stars, land on the moon. And so you've got to make sure that you understand this concept. So for me, I'm not going to show you right now, but on my whiteboard, I've got mapped out. Yeah, I've got mapped out my next book, by the way. It's cool if you see all these different things. But I also have mapped out my goals. And I know that in order to achieve these goals that I have, I've got to shoot much higher on each one. It's like, let's say that you're building all these different teams and legs. And let's say you got one leg or one team that you're building. Well, you're not going to say this one team, I need to hit X amount of volume and just have every single person hit X amount. Instead, what you need to do is you need to find ways that you're shooting for much higher with each person, and you're not banking on everything going perfectly. It's like when you know you need to be somewhere on time. You're not going to, if it's really important to you and you know it takes you 6 minutes to drive there, or let's say it takes you an hour to drive there, you're not going to leave an hour before if it's really important, are you? You're going to leave an hour and a half before because you want to ensure that you make it. It's no different in this training. Those of you that know me know that my style is not hype. I'm not hyping it up, and I'm not thinking and teaching you of, oh my goodness, like this is for sure. Nothing's for sure. But what it is for sure, nothing's for sure as far as results go. What is for sure is the effort. What is for sure is the process. And so throughout this training, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the process, and I'm going to help you. And some of these are going to be just reminders for you. And other things you're going to learn are just going to be mind-blowing to you. You're like, I never knew that. Like, this is so exciting, right? But that's my goal, is I want to help you out in this business. I want to simplify everything. I'm just so excited to share some of these things. But yes, we're going to start out with mindset as we go through this, and then we'll go through all these other things that I've shown you already. And as we cover this, I just want you to take notes. I want you to be laser focused. So yes, mindset will eat skills and systems for breakfast. Now, why do I say that? Some of you have read The Game of Conquering. Who's read The Game of Conquering? If you haven't, I promise you will help you out tremendously in your business. This is, in my mind, the first ever and only of its kind that's focused entirely just on mindset as far as books go in the network marketing profession. And the whole thing is because we know if you have the right mindset, you figure everything else out. Think about it. Because you become the most fearless version of yourselves. And I believe that every single one of you has that incredible greatness inside of you, but whether it's the fear of judgment, right, which I call the mother of all fears. And from that mother of all fears, let's say there's a big circle here. This is what I do at my masterminds, right? I'll draw this circle of the mother of all fears, the fear of judgment, are the surrounding fears, the fear of rejection, the fear of success, the fear of inadequacy, right? The fear of missing out, the fear of whatever it is, the fear of failure. All of these stem from the fear of judgment. If you remove the fear of judgment, you don't have the fear of success. You don't have the fear of failure. You don't have the fear of rejection. You don't have the fear of missing out. You don't have the fear of inadequacy. So that's why it's so important, is because when you can remove these, it's not that it happens overnight, but when you can understand the process to remove these and the process to work on your mindset, then all of a sudden it's like you've planted the seed and now you're starting to water. You're starting to water the seed, right? And now all of a sudden you start to have this plant that just blooms. It's the same thing with your mind. It has so much talent and so much potential. You're not even tapping into it. But all the time, people focus so much on just skills and strategies. The problem is they're just not ready to receive. As Jim Rohn says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So you've got to focus on, yes, consistently improving your mindset every single day. That's why I am so proud of each and every single one of you for reinvesting into yourselves. That's why you're taking this training. That's why you're so excited about this strategy session as we go through it. And so the first thing I would do is I would set up your non-negotiable of how much personal development you are going to do every single day. I want to know, how much personal development are you going to do every single day? Now, with these non-negotiables, what's going to happen is there's two different types. So you're going to have certain things that you set up as far as this goes, like for me, I haven't missed reading personal development now in 14 years. But when I say I haven't missed, some days I only read for 30 seconds, right? My goal is to read for an hour every single day. So do you see the difference? My non-negotiable is I'm not going to miss. My goal is an hour. And typically what happens is we create what's called a win streak. And when you start to create this win streak, now you don't want to miss. So if you can imagine, over 14 years, I've read/listened to over 1,100 books. The biggest key is the mindset there is I made sure that I turned it into application. That is the biggest key there, because you can't just be the person that gets caught up in the personal development black hole and all you do is read, study, listen to Audible, right? It's all incredible, but then you never actually take any action. So my goal is to get you to learn so that you can take more action and more effective action and help you overcome your fears. For me, I was so worried about the fear of judgment that I didn't make, and I talked about this in the Game of Conquering, but I didn't make a post on social media for the first 5+ years, and I'd made millions of dollars. And I didn't make one post because I was so worried what everybody else thought. So this is just to give you some perspective of, I had to constantly be doing this personal development to help me to overcome these limiting beliefs, to help me to overcome these fears as I go. So this isn't just for you. This is something that you need to make sure that you're training your teams to do as well, that your teams are plugging into, right? Even if you say, well, I only have a team of 2 or 3 people, that's okay. You got to start somewhere. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. So you got to see yourself already as this person. So that's the next thing as you go. Now, before I go into this next part of mindset, I really want you to think about, some of you understand and know the Conquer's formula, but I'm going to simplify it and I'm going to go over it very quickly. Is number one, it starts with a vision, right? How big is your vision? This is to have success in anything. How clear is your vision? Because if you don't have a clear enough vision, you're not willing to do anything. Think about that. If you go to the gym and you go to work out and your vision is, oh, this sucks, I hate this, right? I'm just doing this because I'm supposed to. Well, what's going to happen when you have a bad day, bad week, bad month? You're going to quit. You're done. So everything starts with this clear vision that gets you into action. But then after that, that's not enough. You know, I've got several friends recovering alcoholics or recovering drug addicts. I can't be a drug addict and say, okay, I've got this vision, I'm going to overcome it. And then all of a sudden the drugs that I'm addicted to are right there next to my bed and they're right there all over the house, right? And now the environment's not strong enough. So the second thing is the environment. Now, environment can be trainings like these, right? It can be communities like many of you are part of the Game of Networking, right? My free Facebook group. That's community. It could be your network marketing team. It could be other friends and associations. It could be personal development that you're doing. It could be social media, making sure that you're protecting your mind because there's people that just annoy the crap out of you. And so you're protecting yourself there. So the second thing is environment. The third thing is discipline. You can't out discipline, right? A bad environment or bad vision. But if you have a good vision, good environment, now it comes to discipline. Discipline isn't to take away from everything you ever wanted. It's to give you everything you ever wanted. It's to get you to focus on the things that mean the most to you. It's to get you to give up some of your likes to gain more of your loves. What are some of your likes? Some of your likes could be, oh, you like watching 4 hours of television every single day. Okay. But you love doing humanitarian trips. You love doing family vacations. Those of you that know me, you know that's my favorite quote of all time is die with memories, not with dreams. And that's the one thing I always brag about is the amount of family vacations that I do. So you have to be willing to give up some of your likes for your loves. Too many people are so addicted to their likes, they never gain any of their love. So that's number 3. And then the 4th thing is habits. Some studies say it's 60+% of the decisions we make are habits. Some say it's higher. But think about it. Most people, it's Groundhog Day. They wake up at a similar time. They do a similar thing, eat a similar breakfast, go work, right? Then they're done at a similar time, go to lunch at a similar place. Then they're done at a certain time. And then they do their similar things. It's dinner and watch whatever their television shows. Most people, it's habitual, right? It's these habits. They go on and on and on. So that's why I always say, show me your habits, I'll show you your future. That's why it starts with this mindset before anything else. Now, the next thing is part of this mindset that it goes into is establishing who you are. You can't follow this connotation saying that I am with negative words. You can't say, I am so bad at recruiting. I am so bad at finding customers. I am so bad at being consistent. I am so bad at retention. Anytime you say the words I am, never followed by a negative connotation. Because what you're doing is you're identifying with that. You're branding yourself as that. So what happens is you find a way to do that and achieve that because that's who you think you are. Think about that. Your brain, your mind, your body, everything rationalizes to become who you're telling yourself as far as who you are. So instead say, I am becoming better at recruiting. I am learning what to say and what not to say to my customers. I'm progressing in the right direction. I'm telling you, every single one of these things makes a huge difference, not a little difference. That's why I start out with, right, mindset will eat skills and systems for breakfast as we go. So as we move on here, the next thing I really, really want you to look at as you're going through this is, and some of you remember this from the book, is are you a victim, survivor, or conqueror? You got to really identify this. And it's not that we're always one or the other. You can be more of one or the other. I identify, I am a conqueror. It doesn't mean I'm always a conqueror, but I'm more often than not a conqueror. And yes, every so often I go through the victim or survivor mindset, but I recognize it and I snap out of it quicker. You cannot be a victim and have success in this business. You cannot be a survivor and have success in this business. The key is those that are successful snap out of the survivor mindset quicker and get into action. And they do what they know they need to do to have success. And so these are just some really, really clear things that are super, super important for all of you. Just from some of them are reminders, some things are brand new. And then the thing that I ask is, and I ask this at my masterminds, I know a ton of you are tuning in that are from the masterminds, is your why a lie? Because you can say how big your why is, and you can say you want to do this so badly, and you want to do these humanitarian trips, and you want to change the world, and you want to get a loved one out of their job, or you want to be able to go make a difference. And so you need this time freedom. But the question is your why a lie? And if your why isn't a lie, why are your actions not matching your why? Why are you not reaching out to brand new people on a consistent basis? Why are you not having more conversations about your incredible business and products? And the simple reasons can be, I'm going to give you some tough love here, is number one, many times it's your ego because your fears get involved, right? And so now you're worried what everybody else thinks. That's ego. So you're playing small and you're not stepping into your greatness because you're so worried what everybody else thinks, because you're so concerned. And you think you're being humble, but you're actually being self-consumed by not willing to share it because you're valuing, right, everyone else's opinion of you so much and thinking that it's just so important as you go, right? Ego stands for everyone's got one. Ego stands for edging God out. So these are some key and critical components to understand as you're going to make your business. 2 questions everybody asks themselves. You got to keep remembering this over and over. Can I do it? Is it worth it? You must have a reassociation with your pain versus pleasure. So if we're talking about how to sign up 10 customers every single month, and your association is to, I've got to make these new invites, and your association is always to pain of, oh my goodness, if I reach out to Sally, right, and you're hyperventilating, this is how I felt when I started in the business. So if you are, don't feel bad. If Sally, what if she says no and she rejects me, and what if she tells everybody in the neighborhood? That happened to me, right? We won't mention names. His name was Chris. Told every single person in the neighborhood. Couldn't believe Rob was doing network marketing, but we won't mention names. Chris, I love you to death still. He's not watching this. Don't worry. I won't mention his last name at least. So Chris is telling everybody about this, right? So this fear was real to me, and it actually happened. Most of the time, 95% of the time, our fears don't even come to fruition. But all of a sudden, we start thinking, they're going to reject me. They're going to judge me. They're going to tell everybody, and they're going to say, who does she think she is? She's not an expert. Who is she to approach me about these products or business? Or network marketing, that thing never works. Or she's been in 3 network marketing companies. And we start telling ourselves all these stories, right? You got to have a reassociation of, you know what? I'm committed to this. That's the first thing. You got to commit. You've got to recruit yourself. And it may take me longer than I hope. But you know what? I am not going to let my fears beat out my dreams. My dreams, my goals, my ambitions are so big, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Think about that. So you're rationalizing with yourself. And I know I can do this because so many other people have genders, different ages, different educational backgrounds, different countries, from probably your company as well as from all the other different companies. So I know I can do it. And is it worth it? Yeah, of course it's worth it. Because time is the most valuable thing you and I have on this earth. So to be able to create time freedom, of course it's 100% worth it. So you come back to these 2 questions. Now you just got to have this reassociation to the pain versus pleasure. So for me, I started reassociating. I started envisioning of, oh my goodness, I went through this and I went through all these rejections and all these fears. And in the end, I went through all of these things I'm living now, which just seems surreal, of being able to do 7+ family vacations this year, even with all the chaos that's going on in the world right now. If you're watching this live, right? Tons of chaos going on in the world with restrictions and COVID and all that. I may end up going on 10 family vacations this year. That to me is what life's about, right? That to me is what happiness is about. For me, my goal was always, right, first and foremost, was to be a great husband and a great father. And for me, I'm always striving, right? I still got my down days and my bad days. Just ask my wife. But that was for me happiness. That's what success looked like. So my association to these rejections were, I was, as John Maxwell says, I was feeling my way forward. I was getting closer to the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, were there days where it was so foggy, right? And it's like, I can't even see the vision. Yeah, of course there were. But on those days, I just crawled. And on the days where it was pretty clear, I was not just jogging or walking, I was sprinting. So this is important stuff. The next thing is, as we go through this, is your schedule is your boss. So IPA stands for income producing activities. DMO stands for daily method of operation, right? And then as you're looking at this, WMO, you're like, what is that? Weekly method of operation. And then the next one is your monthly method of operation. So monthly method of operation as you go. So some of these are just absolutely key as you're really making this happen. And we're doing this. So I'm going to make sure real quick here. I don't think some of these slides here. So let's come back here and make sure I get these slides to go. Stop sharing. Just awesome. Awesome. Okay, it is working. Okay, just wanted to make sure. You just never know these days as things happen, right? You know, you don't know. So you do your best to make all this awesome stuff go. And then sometimes technology. So I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we're going to come back here and we're going to share it. We're good to go. So we got it. Okay, so You've got your weekly method of operation as you go. You've got your daily method of operation, right? I've got both of my screens right here showing for you guys. Just want to make sure. Okay, there we go. So let's do this. Come here. And now we are good. So as you look at it and you got your weekly method of operation, you've got your daily method of operation, and then your monthly method of operation. I think the biggest thing is I want every single one of you to understand that you got to figure out what works for you. So IPA's top income producing activities, you can go to www.sperrybonus.com and you're going to be able to download that. As you go to sperrybonus.com, then you're going to be able to see what that is. But the number one income producing activity is talking to brand new people. And as you're doing that and you're talking to brand new people, it will help everything that you do. And so the next part of that is having conversations, right, with people that could generate warm leads. People maybe you find in Facebook groups with common interests, maybe people where it's their birthday, maybe people are brand new Facebook friends, but more conversations done right can equal more conversions as you go. So understanding all this process is good stuff. But the reason why I said daily versus weekly versus monthly, because the daily method of operation is something you're going to do every single day. Well, some people do not work as well, right? If you say you got to make 5 new contacts every single day. They work better if on Mondays they say, you know what, I'm going to knock out all my brand new contacts. So they're not doing any less. Let's say they're doing 35 new contacts on Monday and they're setting themselves up. But for some people, they find they have better focus on doing that. Then there's the monthly method of operation as well, where we'll talk about this in a little bit as far as going all out, doing some sort of sprint or something like that, that can make that huge difference as you're going. And so these are huge things that will help you out. But these are things you got to schedule. You got to get organized. For me, today is a crazy busy day. I scheduled 10 minutes for lunch. That's it. Some of you are like, what? That's it? Yeah. And I'm excited about it because I feel like I'm making a difference and I'm just laser focused. I want to get as much done as I possibly can so I can be effective with my time, because this means more impact, more influence, more income, right? All of the I's, which means more time a little bit later because I've compressed time to get things done so I can go hang out with my family. That's just me. So you got to figure that out as you go to get to the point you schedule everything you possibly can. You're going to make brand new contacts. When? What time? Which days? Instead of just saying you're just leaving it open your calendar. Like, be very deliberate. Plan it like it's important, right? You plan your vacations like they're important. Everything else you plan like it's important. If you're going to go to a great restaurant, well, you're probably going to call for reservations. Otherwise, you're not going to get in. Well, why is it in your business the thing that you think is so important, and you say is so important, you don't have it planned? It's just like, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to work really hard, right? I don't know what that voice is. Just go with it. I'm going to work so hard. What does that mean? What time? What are you going to be doing? I know my kids start getting home from school at 2:00, and I know my creative energy starts leaving around 2:00. So I know the stuff I'm going to get done is going to be more in the morning. And yeah, I'm going to do stuff after, but I know it's not going to be as highly laser focused. So that's the next thing as you go. Now we're going to go into power hours. Now there's more than 3 different ways, but I'm going to break it down to 3 different ways. This is actually something that I went over in my 6 and 7 figure earner mastermind that I did. So I do 2 different masterminds. Those of you who want to know, a breakthrough mastermind is if you haven't made 6 figures yet. And then I do a leader of leaders mastermind for those that have made 6 and 7 figures in a year. So if you've made 6 figures in a year, you qualify to go. And this was one of the favorite trainings. We went over power hours. So there's 3 different ways. Number 1 is, and this is just being able to focus for an entire hour on your business. Some people do it every single day. Some people do it 5 days a week. Some people do it 3 days a week. Some people do it 1 day a week. So what I want you to do as you go is I want you to look at these power hours and figure out a way that you can implement it with your teams. And some of you are like, I don't have a team yet. That's okay. Implement with yourself, right? Implement with one other person if you can. Find someone that's sideline, downline, upline, whatever, sister line. I don't really care, whatever you want to call it, brother line, as you go and make this happen. So here are the 3 different ways. 5 minutes to share what your intentions are, right? So you get on a Zoom. Typically it's a Zoom. Everybody's on a Zoom. State who you need to be, right? To see the results you're looking for. Then what you do is you have a 25-minute timer. You can find a bunch of them on YouTube videos, download them. And people go, and what they do is is they go make it happen during that time. So during that time, the 25 minutes, it could be today we're doing all talk to brand new people about the business or products. Or it could be today, right? If we're talking how to sign up 10 customers every single month, it could be we are going to go out and all we're going to do is we're going to reach out to people non-business related. We're just going to have conversations with people because we want to be able to warm up some of these leads. We want to talk to people, whether it's their birthday, posts we saw, people we haven't talked to in a long time, brand new Facebook friends, right? Then you got a 5-minute break for questions and support. And then you go 25 more minutes. Well, the last 25 minutes could be, now we're going to go find people to talk about your products. And so the focus could be, we're going to go spend 25 minutes laser focused. You do nothing else. You're not checking emails. You're not checking texts, anything unless it pertains to finding new people to approach about your products. So you see how there's complete laser focus in this. Other people like to do 20, 20, 20. So you break up each one of those 20 increments and what they look like. It could be 20 minutes of new leads, right? And you give strategies for that. 20 minutes for approaching people about your business or products. 20 minutes for follow-up. But you see how it's just specific. Other people like 15, 15, 15, 15, and they break it up. Other people can mix it up. Look, I'm teaching you principles that you can apply to your business. And every single one of you that's watching this training, if you're watching it in the Facebook group, it will stay in this Facebook group. If you're watching on Vimeo, then you already have access to the link and you can watch this forever, just so that you know. Because I know this is a ton of content that we're powering through to help you out in your business and give you specifics. So again, like I said, you decide how many days a week you want to do a power. I don't care if it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, but I'm telling you, the more deliberate that you get in your business, the more success you're going to have. The more focused you get, the more success you're going to have. So as employees, we're told what to do. Our parents tell us what to do. Our teachers tell us what to do. Our bosses tell us what to do. And then all of a sudden in network marketing, it's like, yeah, I get to do what I want when I want. The problem is the strength is incredible if you get to do what you want when you want, but the weakness is also equally strong. Is everything becomes tomorrow, 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 the next day, right? Someday, tomorrowland. So what we want is for all of you is to be able to just get laser focused. Look, billionaires don't work harder than millionaires. Millionaires don't work harder than six figures. Six figures don't work harder than a lot of people that make minimum wage. Your goal is it's a leverage vehicle which you already have, and then from there it's just complete laser focus. That's what I'm trying to help you to do, is have that complete laser focus as you're doing this. So I'm not telling you that you need to work more hours. I can't assess that in your life. I just can't, right? Each one of you have a different situation. But what I am telling you is, with the amount of time you're working, I believe every single one of you can be more effective. I believe every single one of you can be more efficient. I spent most of last year studying time management and how I could be better with my time. And I'm already pretty good at it, but I spent all last year on that because that was one of the most important topics for me to be able to have more success. The next part to this is a monthly blitz day. So the power hour is different because the power hour is just an hour. You're figuring out the consistency on that. Like I said, whether you're doing it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 7 times would be every single day. Whatever you're deciding to do. The monthly blitz day is where now 1 day a month, you're going all out. Now, some of you are going to say, well, I want to alter however you want. Okay. I teach principles. So it could be you're doing it for 2 days or 3 days, but let's just say, for the sake of simplicity, we're going to say 1 day, and then you can do it however you want. So the blitz day, typically I like to choose between the 7th to the 12th. The reason is because the last 5 days of the week, people naturally work hard because they want to hit ranks. Urgency is synonymous with wealth. So it just becomes a natural thing that happens, right? That's how we all work, is off deadlines. At least I did with school. It was always, didn't matter if they gave me 2 months to do a project. I was waiting until the very end. Now, some of you are overachievers. You probably did it right away, but most people work that way. So now, knowing that, those last 5 days of the month, you create some momentum. Well, after that, what typically happens is that momentum ends up pushing for the next 5 days. So now you got 10 days of real work. The rest of the month, those 20 days, people typically fake work. They typically just manage. They typically pretend like they're working. they typically do the least amount possible, which to each their own. It's right. It's whatever your goals and dreams are. Again, I'm not telling you right now to work harder. I'm trying to teach you how to work smarter with your time. So now what I would do to recreate momentum in your teams, and again, if you don't have teams, doesn't matter. You're doing this with yourself, is I would create a blitz day. Let's assume you have no team for yourself. So since the momentum is typically the last 5 days and the first 5 days, that's why I say from the 7th to 12th. So now you have a laser focused day where you go all out on something that's important to you. So if we're talking about how to sign up 10 customers every single month, well, now what I would do is I would say, okay, on this all out blitz day, I'm going to do the highest income producing activities. I'm going to make sure I invite people to look at my products, right? Or services, because I know that's the most important thing. I'm going to make sure that I am reaching out to people, conversations, right? Even if they're non-business related. I'm going to make sure that I'm adding to my lead list, whether that's Facebook interest groups of things that you're excited or passionate about, because these are your people, right? For me, I've hiked all over the world, so I can go find any hiking group and I can, I hiked the Nepali coast. I hiked in Norway, right? I hiked the Amalfi coast. I can have real conversations. This isn't fake chit chat. This is easy. And these are people that become leads. And some people are like, oh, I feel like I have this hidden agenda. What do you mean? What's the hidden agenda? What, don't you want to connect with people anyways, especially people that have common interests? And don't you have something that can help them and help you? Well, what's wrong with that? Like, get over it. It's not a big deal. And if they say no, are you still going to be a good human being? Absolutely freaking yes. So get over it. It's not that big of a deal as you go. So the next part as you go, and you're really making this do it, is be consistent every single month when you're doing this blitz day. If you can get other people involved, whether downline, sideline, crossline, right? Whatever it is, then that's going to make a huge difference as well as that's what your goal is, right? To really, really make this go. So that's the next aspect is, as you know, we're giving you guys all this good stuff. Now what you want to do is you want to start with your warm market. So now we're saying, okay, how do I sign up 10, right? We talked about this at the very beginning, shoot for the stars, land on the moon, as Les Brown says, but you want to start with your warm market. Now I get it. Sometimes people have lost their warm market and they need to move on to the cold. I get it. But we're starting with right now of how do you start with your warm market? And that's just people. Look, you can go through your phone and you can start thinking about every single person that you know. You can start going through your Facebook and your Instagram, and you can start looking like all these different people you know. And typically people know a lot more people than they say they know. But the difference is they just don't have the confidence because their fears are consuming them. So they're not willing to approach other people. Here's the question I ask you. If you knew that anybody who signed up instantly would make $1,000, I know you can't know, and I know we can't make guarantees. It's an analogy. But if you knew that every person that signed up would make $1,000, how many more contacts would you have? All of a sudden now, good old Julie, who you haven't spoken to in 3 years, you've got to call Julie now, because now you feel like a giver rather than a taker. Well, you've got to create that reassociation first and foremost, knowing that you already are a giver and they make their own decisions whether they say yes or no, but you have something that can help them out tremendously. So again, as I said at the very beginning, get over yourself, get over your ego, get over your fears, and become the most fearless version of yourself. So even if you feel like you've approached your warm market, let me teach you how to reapproach them the right way. So these are a couple different things that I like to do. Now, I'm going to preface this. Use the favor system. Won't mention names. She's absolutely incredible. And she's at one of my masterminds. She's like, Rob, I don't like saying it like that. That's okay. I always teach, extract the principles I'm teaching and apply the techniques and the words to your own style, to your own authenticity, to your own personality. So the favor system is simply reaching out to your warm market to try your products without any obligation. The favor system works much better than any other because it is the closest circle of friends. The favor system is the most duplicatable system, I believe, for your newest partners. So this is also for you when you sign somebody up brand new to help get them launched the right way. So remember, scripts, I always say use words that fit your style, words that fit your personality. So don't get caught up in, I wouldn't say it like that, or, oh, that sounds so cliche or cheesy, or who cares? People love scripts because it at least gives you a concept and an idea. So text one, right? These are examples. Apply your own style or wording, like I said. Would you do me a favor? Now wait until they respond. Now, is this painful to wait? Yeah, of course it is. But these are your close friends, or these are the people you're launching and it's their close friends. So now, once they respond and they say yes, here's text number 2. Again, own style, own personality. I just started a new business and would love for you to support me. The product is whatever, fill in the blank, and helps a ton with, right? Insert the benefits, right? We're selling benefits. We're always selling benefits. Don't worry. There is no obligation to keep buying. If you love the product, then of course you can keep buying. But if you don't, then no worries. It is only, right? And there's no question mark there, but you can put whatever it is in there. Now, would you be willing to try it? And you can say, thanks for doing me a favor, right? Because they already committed to doing a favor. Look, what people all the time are doing people favors, especially close friends. You're doing people a favor. You're supporting people like when they have their own businesses, or if they open up a business, wouldn't you go to it? And they're like, hey, I just opened a restaurant. Would you come and support? You would gladly do it. So you're letting them know there's no obligation. And again, you're catering it. That's why I always teach principles, and I'm so cautious with scripts. You're applying it to the words that you would use. What's the bold version of you, right? Of course, that's why I say the bold version of you, because you're always going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but how would you do it? And I absolutely love voice clips. I like voice clips better because they get to hear your authenticity. So for me, if you're willing to do voice clips, not only do I like them, but I think you're going to have more success. So I just don't want anyone to feel like they have to do them. But I do believe you're going to have more success because it sounds a lot more authentic and less robotic. And make sure if you are reading a script when you are sending a voice message, do it first to your phone. And then once it's good, then you can actually send that as an attachment, as a voice clip, so that it's not like, hey, I just started a new business and would love for you to support me, right? You got to make it conversational with your tonality. So I would say like, hey, Joe, I just started a new business and I would absolutely love for you to support me. The product is, right? So you see how it sounds a lot more conversational as you go. Text number 3, it's really simple. Give the website to buy. Here is the website to buy. Can you text me once you've ordered it? Now, this is an important concept here. Again, you can apply whatever technique you want as far as wording, but the principle is I am letting them know to let me know once they bought, because there's some sort of an accountability here. And I'm also thanking them. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a ton. I'm excited for you to try the products. Now, again, this is me being authentic, and I'm sure all of you would feel the same about your products and services. So this is something that's really simple that works. Now, nothing just works. What does that mean? Everything is fine-tuning so that you have the belief in the system. Everything is fine-tuning so you can apply your own style, personality, and wording. So that's why it's trial and error. And you may even split test. Some of you are like, what's split testing? This is from the online world. So you may create maybe 2 different versions of text that you would send, and then you're going to track them. And you're going to say, okay, I've done this one 30 times. I've done this one 30 times. I had 20 people that looked at it from this and 10 that joined. And this one, I only had 10 people look at it, but I had 6 that joined. And so you're like, well, okay, I'm going to use this one because this one worked. And then I'm going to create another new one to split test. So you're always split testing, but then you're measuring those results and you're tracking those results to be able to see which one works the best. Because people always ask me, well, what do you think? Look, duplication is huge. The problem is we misinterpret duplication of trying to turn everybody into freaking robots. I want you to step into your greatness, your uniqueness. That's why I'm so huge on teaching you these principles. and also teaching the principle of applying it to your own style and your own personality as you go. Now we move on to referrals. Once someone has tried the product for whichever amount of time you deem is necessary, send this text. So the reason why I say this is because I understand certain products, it's like instant results. It's like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a week. Other people like, it takes a good month. So whatever you deem as necessary, this is what you send this text. Give me the update, right? If it's a voice message, I would say it like that. Hey, Joe, give me the update. How are you liking the products? If you're liking them, what is your favorite part, right? Whatever else that you would say. So again, super simple. It's a follow-up text. Now we go for the social media post referrals. So if you are liking the products, I have an idea. So if they told me they're liking, I wouldn't say if. I would say, since you're loving the products, I have an idea to help you get them for free. Now, again, whatever's compliant with your company, your team, blah, 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 all the good stuff. I used to joke around when I was building network marketing that compliance should be called the sales prevention team. But I also know compliance is really important. That was just the promoter in me as we go. So probably don't tell them that. And then I say, I can help you if you're willing. All you need to do is make a post on social media about your experience. If anyone is interested, then I will give you credit for the purchase to help you get your product for free. Now give them ideas of what to post. So create a folder in Google Drive, create a folder in Dropbox, create a folder somewhere where you're screenshotting as many as you can that are good. And when I say as many as you can, I mean, don't have more than probably 5 or 6, or they're going to be confused. But find at least a couple that are good examples so they have something to work off of, and then they create whatever their own experience was as they go. So it's that simple. And I tell them that. Share what your experience was, share any results, and now if you have exact examples, show those screenshots to give them a specific example. So your social media market now as we move on. And hopefully you guys are finding some huge value in this training. This is one of those trainings that can literally change your business and your team's business, but you're going to have to keep going through it and then keep executing over and over and over, because the goal is I always say successful people just do the basics better, is to be able to get a strategy where you can focus on execution. Where I think network marketers make a huge mistake is they have a good strategy, but then they shift to another good strategy and another good strategy and another good strategy. And it becomes, the jack of all trades is the master of none, right? And I'm going to botch the quote. What did Bruce Lee said? He said something like, I do not fear the man that's practiced, 10,000 different kicks, something like that. You get the gist. I fear the man that's practiced one kick 10,000 times. Okay. I may have butchered it, but you got the gist. It's the same thing. So many people in network marketing, it's like they're climbing the Mount Everest of network marketing. And they're like, oh, that path looks so good, Sally. Let's go climb it. They start climbing and they're like, oh, they're doing really well. Let's climb that path. So they climb on down the path. And now it's like, oh, Sally, let's climb this path. And they start climbing up and they're like, oh my goodness, did you see Betsy? She is just cruising over there. The weather looks great over there. Climb back down, right? And they start climbing up and they do it again and again and again. And look, there's several great paths, but the one path that sucks is the one that's inconsistent, the one where you keep trying different ones. So thanks, Clyde. I love it. Do not fear someone who has practiced 1,000 kicks once, but I fear someone who has practiced one kick 1,000 times. So I added the 10,000. Sound a little bit better, right? But you get it. So that's the same thing I'm trying to teach all of you is there's so much confusion. There's so many good trainings and trainers on social media and on network marketing and your teams and different things that find someone that you follow and then make sure that anyone else that teaches you is just to validate. It's not to change your direction. That could be me. You could say, you know what, Rob, it's not you. I'm following this other person or coach, and you help to validate and communicate a different way. I don't care in a good way because my goal is I focus on karma and helping people to have success. And even if that means that I'm not your main person you follow, that's okay with me, because to each their own. Your vibe attracts your tribe, and I want to help you to have a ton of success. So your social media market. This is another way is attraction marketing is a myth. Attraction marketing is people think that it's going to create so many leads that everybody just joins their business. Like, I'm going to generate like 20 new leads every day. Look, there are unicorn type posts that happen, but for the most part, the goal with attraction marketing is to bridge the gap. And by bridging the gap, I mean, you're bridging the gap of the likability and the credibility by utilizing social media for visibility / recallability, so that ultimately you can increase your profitability. Hopefully that wasn't confusing. So what you need to understand is you're just, attraction marketing is just, it's not the BS that's taught. It's, you want people to get to know you better. That's it. Your goal is to have them get to know you better. The best analogy is so that when you reach out to them, now instead of closing 1 out of 10, an analogy, you close 2 out of 10. Does that make sense? So you've increased your odds and your percentages dramatically. So I just want to make that really clear. So that's why I want you to focus on what your best is first with stories, posts, and lives. And then I want you to increase to eventually add all 3 to your business. Stories are the behind the scenes reality version, right? Because they're not as rehearsed, and it's like you get to utilize things more often. There are less people on stories on Facebook and more people on stories on Instagram, meaning more people will go through stories than they will through your feed on Instagram. Whereas on Facebook, more people go through feeds than stories right now. Things are changing always, but that's how it's been. But stories, you can take your concept. Let's say you're someone that's going to post 5 days a week about your life and 2 days a week that are more curiosity posts about your business or products or more direct, whatever your style is. Well, stories, you can compress an entire week into a day. Why? Because you can scroll through stories so fast. People don't get annoyed if you have 7 or 8 stories in a day. People are going to freak out and block you and unfriend you if you got 7 posts a day. So, and as far as should you share stories about your product or not, honestly, the biggest thing is just commit to a strategy. So one team I coach, they do 5 posts a week, non-business related. So it's about things they're passionate about. That's a whole nother training. And then they do 2 posts a week that are more curiosity. So let's say that you've got something that's focused on weight loss, just as an example. Well, I could show my protein I'm mixing, right? My secret sauce protein, that's curiosity, and my different recipes with it. I could show one of my curiosity posts would be, I'm going to work out and it's leg day. And do you do leg day? Right. So I could do that. Another team that I coach, they do a 4 or a 5-1-1 strategy. So they do 5 non-business related posts so people get to know them better. Right. That's the way of attraction marketing. Then they do 1 curiosity a week, and then they do 1 direct. So you see, there's so many different variations in there. And I can tell you, I know so many different $1 million earners that do a combination of both, or they just do one or the other. So there is no right way. That's why it's be the bold version of you, pick a strategy, and become great at it. How do you become great at it? Is you just do it and you focus. But the reason why I say the money is in messengers, because after stories, then you're getting consistent on posts. Then you're doing, let's say you're doing lives, you're willing to do lives, which are so powerful. It's a great way for people to get to know you. Now, the real money is in Messenger, because this is where the conversations happen. So I always set a goal of reaching out to 10 plus people a day, non-business related. Now, don't get me wrong. I was the number 1 recruiter out of 1 million distributors. I didn't make money just by reaching out to people. I had to make sure I also reached out to people about the business. But I say this because too many people don't have these conversations. Now, these conversations done right lead into and transition into talking about your products, your business, right? I would never overdo it. What is overdoing it? I'm not going to tell you to be the person that says, okay, Rob, I've talked to Julie Kablooey now for about 2 years. Do you think it's okay I approach her about my products or business? You misinterpreted what I said. Look, I'm focusing on being a good human being and new friends and big things and happy birthday and staying in touch with people, all those things. But I believe that if it's longer than the third conversation that it takes you to approach someone, you're hurting your business big time. You're taking too long. If it's the first message, then you become Spamela Pamela. Not the first conversation. That's okay. First message isn't. So I don't care if it's the first, second, or third conversation, whatever fits your style or personality. If you get annoyed that someone approaches you in the first conversation, you're probably not going to feel authentic if you do that with other people. You're not. If you get annoyed when someone doesn't approach you in the first conversation, you're not going to feel too good about yourself if you wait. So do you see how I gave you both sides of the spectrum as you go? That's why I'm the whole duplication of people trying to teach, like make everybody, you got to approach them the very first conversation or you're shady. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Or you have got to wait until the third conversation. Again, stupidest thing I've ever heard, because each one of us is different. Don't try to fit everybody into one way of doing it. So again, this has to be compliant with your company. And some people are allowed to do this, some aren't. So check with your company on what you're allowed to do. I'm trying to be very compliant because I want to help edify all of you as you go. And I'll have to do another live. I've done 2 different trainings all on lives. I'm going to have to do another one here in the next several months to help you guys on that and focus on that. But contests can be huge. So you can do contests like anyone who comments on this post will be entered into a drawing to win. Insert what the products are. And what the value is, simple things like that as you go. It could be like you just got your products or your teammate just got their products, or there could be some sort of promotion, could be something that's just really fun as you go. And then the other thing that you can do as you go is you can do a Facebook or Instagram live where you're drawing the winner, because this creates even more exposure to the contest that you just did, which is creating exposure to your products that you just did. And so this is something you can do. And then you can go reach out to those people that didn't win. And you can say this. You can say, hey, you can text them or voice message them. I saw you enter the contest but didn't win. This product is incredible. Insert what, right, is incredible about it and has a special rate. Now, if you don't have a special, find a way to create value for them to try it as you go. So these are simple concepts. But what you want to do is you want to rinse and repeat this strategy along with yourself and your teams and all of these different strategies, because as you do these, what you're going to find is now as you've got your IPAs, right? Income producing activities, you got your DMO, daily method of operation, which is going to include the mindset that we talk so much about. Now, as you're utilizing the favor system, which with whatever wording you want, your style, your personality, and your monthly method of operation, along with your weekly method of operation, now you're inserting power hours to give you focus, right? The whole thing is all about focus. And then from there, you're including these blitz days. You can see how signing up 10 customers is something that is absolutely feasible. It's not easy. Nothing worthwhile is easy. That's why we started out with the Les Brown quote of shoot for the stars, land on the moon. But it's absolutely 100% possible. And so for you, as you're doing this, every single strategy I just taught can be adapted to what works best for you. But I've given you at least a foundation and a blueprint that now you can take this foundation, this blueprint, and you can say, okay, how can I apply this? And the only way is by actually doing it. By trial and error, you're going to learn. I like this. I didn't like this. I'm going to try this. Try that. That didn't work. Oh, I tried this. Oh my goodness, this blew up. And you're going to message me. Hey, Rob, I just figured out something new about that strategy. I tried it yours. And I'm like, well, great. Can I utilize that? Can I coach on that? That's how I gain information now, is because I take things that I did. I take things that other top leaders are doing. I combine them. And then I get to hear all the latest and greatest strategies from people all over the industry. So take this and watch and rewatch and watch and rewatch this training and apply it. And I promise you, this will help you out, because customers are the lifeblood of this business. Customers are what create the true residual income. Customers are actually what bring business builders in. Customers, if you do it right, are the ones that also, many of them, not all, many of them transition into business builders. So you see how everything comes from this entire focus. And that's why this training was on how to focus you and help you to make it happen. So watch, rewatch, watch, rewatch this training. If you're watching the Vimeo, you can comment If you're watching this as far as the Facebook Live goes and you're in this live training, comment below on what the most helpful part of this training was. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I love what I do. It's so fun. It's so rewarding. I am rooting for you. It's fun cheering for everybody. It's fun seeing so many of you crush your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, overcoming your fears. That's why I'm so passionate about this industry of what it can do, because time freedom is the most valuable thing we can have on this earth. Die with memories, not with dreams. Go implement these strategies and take this strategy session and go crush your business and make it happen.